and welcome everybody to the YCR virtual open house. My name is Lyndon Breadner. With me is Camila Fradette, Myles Fischer, and Lexi Cooke. I will let them introduce themselves in a second. Just a few housekeeping items before we dive right in. Let me just share my screen because I can't do multiple things at once. Few housekeeping items. We have a Q&A box. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to put them there and we can go through with that. So anyways, my name is Lyndon Breadner. I am a recent graduate from the University of Lethbridge, where I got my degree in history with a minor in political science. I've been with YCR, formerly known as SFC, for the last 3 years. This is my third summer, and I'm very excited that we can all share with you guys what we're doing this summer, because I think, but I also know that this is our biggest summer program that we've come up with to date. We're very excited. We're trying to make things bigger and better than ever. We will get into that, and I will allow my lovely co-hosts to introduce themselves.
Well, thanks, Lyndon, for the amazing introduction, and thanks everyone so much for coming. We really appreciate it. My name is Lexi Cooke, and I'm from Calgary, but I am currently pursuing my business degree at Bishop's University, which is in Sherbrooke, Quebec. And I first got introduced to YCR last year through a panel, and then from there, I did the Dragon's Den event, and I've been involved with them ever since, and it's been amazing.
Thank you, Lexi. So, hi, welcome everyone. My name is Camila. Un beau bonjour à tout le monde qui nous écoute du Québec ou qui est francophone. For my English people there, don't worry, I won't do the whole presentation in French, but you might hear my French accent come out throughout this presentation because I am from Quebec. I live in Montreal right now, but I'm spending the whole summer in Calgary, and I'm currently doing a graduate degree in environmental management and climate change. So sustainability has always been a passion for me. I started with YCR in December of last year, and when I joined in, I didn't have any clue what it was about, and it ended up being an amazing opportunity for me. So that's why I'm excited to tell you all about our summer program today.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining. My name is Myles. I am a near political science graduate from the University of Calgary, and in the fall, I will be starting my master's in international affairs at Carleton University. I first joined YCR 2 summers ago through my job at Crew Energy, where I was working a job that was probably pretty similar to what a lot of you guys are doing right now. And this summer, I have joined YCR full-time. So now I'm going to pass it back over to Lyndon to talk to you about what's going down at YCR this summer.
Yeah, so this is going to be the brief synopsis. What's going down? First and foremost, we're going to be hosting a few different competitions throughout the summer that can get teams from, say, New Vista, teams from Peru, teams from wherever your summer student experience is coming from this year, and get them to compete. So that's going to come in the forms of 3 major ones. That will be the Dragon's Den in July, a case competition in June. Probably should have flipped them around for chronological dates, being a big history guy, but whatever. And then we'll also have a Mall UN, and I'm sure that throughout the summer we'll also sprinkle in some more other competitions. So you're probably thinking, well, okay, competition, cool. I played team sports. I love winning. I hate losing, even if it's video games or whatever too. But there's going to be cash prizes for these and stuff like that. And for those of you who have been with us in previous summers, you know that we host a lot of events. So you get to have a free beverage with us and a free ride home. So I don't know why you wouldn't want to sign up for that. Our first one, and I'm going to say it's going to be our biggest event to date until the next one, is going to be at Craft Beer Market. Tickets will be sent out next week, and it's a first come, first served basis. So if you don't have a ticket or you don't register in time, then I'm sorry, you can't come in. So, when we send those out, make sure that you register right away. And then not only that, we'll be planning a bigger and better Stampede party this year. We're kind of still working on the dates. We're hoping for a sneak a peek, but it's Stampede. Need I say more? Obviously, I'm sure that most of you in Calgary are planning on going at some point. So how about we give you a night as well? And that's not the only event. I will not take the spotlight away from my co-hosts. I will let them talk about it in a little bit here. But yeah, so that's more or less the synopsis of what we're doing. with that being said, I will pass it over to Camila and she can let you know a little bit more about who we are for those of you who don't know.
Yeah, thanks, Lyndon. So Young Canadian for Resources, or YCR, was founded in 2019, so it's okay if you haven't heard of us quite yet. YCR is a career development and networking group. We are an organization led by young Canadians and for young Canadians, but most importantly, we're a community of like-minded people from coast to coast who likes to talk about resources, advocate for them, and participate in Canadian natural resources. So you might have catch earlier that I am an environmental student in climate change. I am from Quebec. And so you might think that it doesn't really make sense. Like, why would I, of all people, be working for an organization that is in favor of resource development? Well, you're not the only one to wonder this. So many of my friends back home in Quebec ask me the same things. And well, here's the thing. I'm not in favor of each and all resource development, and neither is YCR. What I will say, however, is that I recognize that we need resources in every part of our daily life. We need energy for keeping the lights on. We need minerals for our phones and computers, agriculture for food. And so if resource development is necessary and is essential for human well-being, well, I believe we need to do it right. And at YCR, we think doing it right implies the balance between people, planet, and prosperity. So like this means that sustainable and responsible resource development should take into account the environment, the economy, and the social development. So our team believes that Canada has a bright future in balancing those three. Just because I have those similar values as YCR does not mean I agree with everything my team does or agrees with. So we're an open-minded, inclusive space. So if, like me, you don't necessarily agree with everything, well, don't worry. You won't be expected to hold like a specific opinion either. That's really not the goal. Actually, the goal here is to have an open discourse. And that's not as simple of a task as you may think. Actually, coming from Quebec and from an environmental background, especially, I can say that from experience, resources are taboo subjects where I'm from. Resources, especially oil and gas and even mining, are extremely taboo because the environmental impacts, people don't want to talk about it. And like not talking about it means not knowing about it. And for me, like that's the dangerous part about it, right? Like nothing feeds polarization more than misinformation. So addressing polarization is why YCR exists in the first place. So now I'll leave it to Myles and Lexi to explain a bit more our areas of focus.
Thanks, Camila. So what we do at YCR really comes down to three focus areas. So literacy, advocacy, and networking. So first, literacy. While your job might teach you a lot about a specific component of the natural resource sector, so whether that's engineering or you're a geologist, business student, one of the many other things that can be done in the natural resource sector, what we try to do different is we try to look at the big picture of what is going on in the sector as a whole and how your work in natural resources can impact and be impacted by events locally, nationally, and globally. So what we do is we provide young Canadians with information about the natural resource sector from a range of experts and professionals that has been vetted by young Canadians so it can be understood by young Canadians. Because let's face it, when experts talk, it can be really confusing sometimes. So having someone else break it down and digest that information for us before it goes out is awesome. Next, we do advocacy. So our hope is that once you have learned a little bit more about the significance of natural resources and the problems that the sector faces, you will come to not only appreciate, but also vocally support resources in your work, schools, and communities.
Awesome. And the final area of focus is networking. And networking is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself. Creating an own brand and starting to discover what you want to do as a career is really important. And networking is the foundation for that. So meeting other professionals and other young professionals in this industry is really important. And YCR helps facilitate a space for that. So make sure you come down with your LinkedIn profiles and be ready to network. All right. Now, why are we advocating for resources? You might be thinking, why is this important? Why are we doing this, Lexi? Well, in 2021, like I said earlier, I began my university career out in Quebec, and I was just shocked to hear all the negative comments about the oil and gas sector specifically. I knew I was going to face that, but I didn't realize how prominent it actually was. And as Camila said, there is a lot of negative talk and it's very polarizing and it's a taboo topic to talk about out in Quebec. People don't want to talk about it. They don't support these sectors. And sometimes I struggled on how to interact with some of these conversations and how to hold myself. I had the Canada Action, I Love Canadian Oil and Gas sticker, and that sparked up a lot of really heated conversations, and it really opened my eyes to the importance of knowing how to handle these conversations and the importance of resource literacy. So I truly believe that being able to hold your own in these conversations and increasing your own resource literacy is really important. We are the future of the industry. We are the future of the workforce. So knowing this kind of stuff is really important and will set you apart from some of the other people who are applying for jobs in this position, having those strong skills. And so that brings to our other points, which is creating a community for young Canadians that are all passionate about this sector. I think that's really important, surrounding yourself with people who have similar views, maybe not always the same, but similar, and creating a community is really beneficial as you're trying to pave through a career. And finally, Lyndon, before you skip on me here, YCR helps highlight careers and opportunities that are apparent in this sector. Before being a part of YCR, I didn't realize how big this sector was and how many amazing opportunities are available for young people. So being involved and knowing about resources, there might be new opportunities you never knew existed.
All right, so now more than a sneak preview of this slide, I'll give you the whole thing. So our Summer Resource Advocacy Program, or RAP, as we sometimes call it. So if you decide to participate in our Summer Resource Advocacy Program, what's in it for you? So first and foremost, networking opportunities. So this is your chance to mix and mingle with the executives at companies other than your own, meet fellow young Canadians with career ambitions complementary to your own, and establish a name for yourself in a thriving industry that you can build a career in. Secondly, developing career skills. So having practical skills is great. Whether you're a geologist, engineer, business student, or something else like myself, knowing how to network, speak confidently in front of a large audience, and articulate complex thoughts to an audience that has never heard of what you're talking about before can really make you stand out in front of your peers at your current job or at the interview for your next job. Now, lastly, this is a great chance to collaborate with your coworkers on passion projects. So a little story about me. When I first started at YCR through my job at Crew, I really wanted to do creative writing pieces. So I got introduced to a fellow political science nerd who used to work at YCR named Perry. Perry mentored me to the point that I'm now doing a lot of Perry's old jobs, including blogs and the newsletter at YCR. And Perry has moved on to a job in the government where she uses skills daily that she built at YCR. Now, while I am a political science nerd who loves doing written content, understandable if that's not your thing. So I will pass it off to Lyndon to explain the best ways that you can get involved with our resource advocacy program this summer.
Yeah, when he mentioned the people who don't like writing, I fall into that category. Myles can attest to that, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I was asked to do one blog and it took me like 3 months. But it was a great blog.
Words. It was a great blog.
Fantastic blog.
That. Good blog.
So you're probably wondering, when exactly should you be taking part? So first and foremost, we have our workshop Wednesdays, which are exactly as the name suggests. We'll dive into that in a second. I'm going to decide to just blow over it and just tell you the dates. So those are going to be on June 7th, June 28th, July 26th, August 9th. Those are the 4 big dates for us. Then we also have a Dragon's Den on July 18th. So enter your team and win. As I said earlier, there's cash prizes. I won't give a spoiler alert. I've already given one spoiler today. I don't need to give another one. So enter your team and win in that. Take part in the case study, which will be on June 28th. And our case competition. I don't know why I keep saying study, but whatever. Anyways, and then we also have our networking socials. So that's the craft night, hopefully a Stampede one. We put July 6th because we're aiming for sneak peek. So those will be on June 1st, June 22nd, July 6th, July 18th, August 9th. And then we also have our food for thought every Thursday at 1:30 on Zoom. You're probably thinking, wow, that was a lot. Don't worry. This is where my creative control on the PowerPoint came in. It was a lot. Let's break it down. And I will pass it over to Camila.
Yeah, thank you, Lyndon. You made me a little bit dizzy here. So let's break it down a little bit. And let's look at the workshop Wednesday first, because that's where you can get the most bang for your buck. So you guys work in resources. So I bet you've had like a hard conversation at one point or another in your work where you had to like defend resources to people who might be against it. And we all know that's kind of uncomfortable to do. Well, here's your chance to get more comfortable with that conversation, because that's exactly what we will be talking about during those workshop Wednesdays. So we have 4 of them lined up for you guys this summer. So like you won't have to continually be asking your boss for time off, just those really important 4 dates. These workshops will be based around the 3 pillars of our organization that I talked earlier. So people, planet, prosperity, and a 4th one, which is policy. So those will happen on lunchtime. So you can expect a free lunch. So that's always fun. And they are on June 7, June 28, July 26, and August 9. So remember those dates very clearly, because you want to be there. First, speakers will join us for a lunch and learn type deal. But most importantly, after those lunch and learn, you will want to stay for the afternoon workshop, which is where you get to collaborate with young professionals just like you. And most importantly, competition with one another. So like, I know you want to like make your executives proud of you and you want to win. So this is the chance to do so. But before getting into those competitions, let's talk about events. So I'll end it out to Myles.
Thanks, Camila. So if you do have some extra time after work this summer, come and enjoy some food and a few drinks on us while getting to know industry executives and other young Canadians that could be future industry leaders at our 5 scheduled events throughout the summer. So these events are on June 1st, June 22nd. Lyndon mentioned earlier that we would be hosting a Stampede event in early July. Need I say more? If you're from Calgary, you know how awesome Stampede is. If you're not from Calgary, you need to find out how awesome Stampede is. And then we will have 2 more events, one on July 18th and another one on August 9th. Now, I know we have given you a lot of dates, and if you're not a history major like me, you might not understand all the, or you might not memorize all the dates. That's okay. You do not need to memorize them all right now. At the end of the presentation, we will be sharing how you can stay up to date with all of YCR's happenings throughout the summer by subscribing to our bi-weekly newsletter and following us on social media. Now, in case you forgot, our first event is June 1st. June 1st might be a date to remember. I don't know. If you remember one, June 1st will be the one to remember, because then you can know the dates after that. That's a craft beer market, and tickets are first come, first serve. So get your tickets as soon as possible if you plan on attending. Now, another special event that we're having is June 22nd. That will be our speed networking event. If you have not heard of speed networking before, no worries. It is just like speed dating, but in a professional setting. So basically it gives you the chance to make an impression on dozens of industry executives in just one night. At past speed networking events, we've had hundreds of executives and young professionals in attendance and had young Canadians land career-defining jobs because of connections they've made at our speed networking events. It also talks about the Dragon's Den a little bit there. I will hand it over to Lexi to talk about that and our other resource games.
All right, resource games. Well, you've all heard us talk a little bit about these competitions, but you're maybe like, what are these competitions? Well, these piqued my interest. You know, who doesn't love a little bit of healthy competition? Obviously, all of us. So YCR throughout the summer is providing you with the resources and tools and skills to better prepare yourself on resource literacy. So we're trying to give you an opportunity to use some of this knowledge that you've been gained and some of the knowledge and skills that you already have to the table to battle it out against other companies to see which summer students are the best and who will end up on top. So come on, that sounds pretty awesome. So first up, we have the case competitions. And case competitions are when teams come together to solve a presented issue and they come up with a recommendation. Case competitions improve your problem-solving skills, your teamwork skills, your presentation skills. And I personally have participated in many case competitions, and I've grown so much as a public speaker. And this is a benefit to any career path that you take in the future. And then the Dragon's Den Challenge, which is a challenge to create a national campaign that supports the Canadian resource sector. And then you will pitch this to a panel of executives. I participated in this event last year by myself, so you can do it alone. You don't need to be in a team. And I barely knew anything about YCR or what they did, and I could not recommend it more. It was such an awesome experience for me. I was so nervous, but I learned so much, and I was able to meet so many executives who now know me by name, which is a pretty cool experience just in and of itself. So come out, learn how to make a name for yourself, create your own brand. All these skills help kind of develop you into the young professional that you want to be. And finally, we have the Model UN, which will allow you to work in teams and learn about other countries by adopting their perspective on resource development in an organized debate. Now, we talked about some prizes. So the Dragon's Den and the case competitions are going to have prizes on the line. So drum roll, please. The first place prize for the case competition is $4,000, and the first place prize for the Dragon's Den is $4,000. And the second place prize for both is $1,000 and $1,000. So you're really not going to want to miss this. What an amazing opportunity to gain some professional experience and to win some cash. So you do not want to miss these events.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Lexi. So take 2 on the key dates. So obviously we have said the dates as many times as we can. I'm just going to kind of put a few highlights on here. For the workshop Wednesdays, please attend the lunches. At least you'll learn so much more about resources across Canada. You'll learn more about it. And if you can stay for the workshop and your managers are okay with you staying for the workshop, you can, learn how to have these conversations. Even I had to experience at U of L, right? Like it's not, no matter where you go in Canada, these perspectives are all different towards different resources. And we're trying to, gain that literacy for everybody in terms of being able to speak about resources and being more confident. And those workshops also go into building other outside skills, right? Like if you're an engineer or geologist, you have all the technical skills, absolutely. But we're trying to, help you out with those other skills. Lexi talked about creating your own brand. Now, obviously you're all working, or maybe you're not, and you're trying to get your foot in the door. Well, we're trying to create your own personal brand where it's how you market yourself, how you can network yourself with other people. We're trying to give you these skills that you can take and use throughout your career. And it's something that we're very proud to say that we've done with a few people for sure. Or maybe everyone, I don't know. There's no real statistics on that. But so if you can come out on June 7th and 28th, and then obviously the dates in July and August, that's fantastic. And we'd love to have you there. The other thing is enter a team with our Dragon's Den and try and win $4,000. For myself, my tuition a semester was like $3,000. So if I was on my own, that pays my tuition for the fall semester for sure. And that's on July 18th. So really try and make it out to those. And then for our networking socials, we understand that everybody has lives here. So if you can't make it to all of them, that is what it is. I would say, obviously come to our June 1st event. Craft, it'll be a good time for anybody who's ever been to Craft. And then we'll also have the speed networking one, which, as Myles said, we've had people walk out of there and get a job a week later. So that's something very remarkable that we're very proud of as well. And then once we figure out the Stampede date, we will let you guys know. You will be the first to know. And then on July 18th, just a normal social. And then obviously our last workshop Wednesday leads into our last social of the summer. And we'll end the summer with a bang, I'm sure. So I also mentioned Food for Thought, which is our speaker series, basically like a lunch and learn where we bring in resource professionals from across the country, talk about different resources. We've had people come in and talk about fisheries. We've had the CEO of Bruce Power in Ontario come in and talk about like nuclear. Tomorrow, though, we have a panel led by Camila, which is going to have a bunch of different hiring managers throughout Calgary and some other younger professionals who have kind of walked in a career path already. And it's basically going to be like your foot is now in the door. How do you stay in that hallway? How to keep the job, how to, build that brand. Because like I said, I can't stress this enough. You're your own personal brand when it comes to working. It's your own reputation. We're just trying to give you ways to grow that. So obviously we have all these events. Now you're probably wondering, how can I stay involved? How can I get in touch with you guys? And I will let Lexi dive into that.
All right, so let's take action together. I think Lyndon and my other colleagues have done an amazing job on selling what we do. Clearly, YCR does some amazing things, and they're all made to benefit you. So just make sure you take advantage of this. Come to our workshop Wednesdays, come to our socials, participate in the Dragon's Den, participate in the case comp. $4,000, you don't want to miss it. So in order to stay in touch with us, I know you have your phones beside you, and thank you so much for all of your concentration on us, but take those phones out, put them to some good use. Search our Instagram handle right now, YC Resources, scan the QR code, join our bi-weekly newsletter for some resource updates. Join us, connect with us on LinkedIn, do it right now. Join that newsletter with your personal email so you can stay up to date with us all year. You don't want to miss the amazing events that we have, so make sure you're doing that right now. I promise you will not regret it. So please join us on our socials.
And with that, talking about our LinkedIn very quickly, we do highlight throughout the year different job opportunities that are in resources across the country. We've highlighted, I think, a few forestry jobs in Northern Ontario. We've highlighted jobs in Quebec and Nova Scotia. So, you know, we are Young Canadians for Resources, Canadians, Canada. So we really just want to highlight that these opportunities are not just in Calgary and they're not just in oil and gas. They are across the country. But obviously, right now, our focus is in Calgary that you're seeing, but we are still doing events across the country as well. So, yeah, with that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in. We're going to dive into some questions because I see that the Q&A box has gotten a little full. So I'll stop sharing. I just want to show my Dr. Evil meme that I found just because I love Austin Powers. So with that being said, we will dive into some of the questions in the Q&A box here. So I'll go first. Thanks for the dates. Can we have a schedule sent of times included with those dates? Absolutely. I will send them out to, I can get everybody's email from here, but I can also send it out to different managers who maybe weren't able to. So those will definitely be coming out. And if you did subscribe to that newsletter, then those dates will also be in there just in case you do miss something. And we'll also be highlighting our events on Instagram as well. So everything, the QR code didn't work. I just saw that sucks. Okay. I will put in the chat our link to our website. Actually, Myles, could you just do that? A link to the sign up for the newsletter. We'll put it in the chat. If you go to our website, youngcanadiansforresources.ca, we will definitely fix that QR code. That's very disappointing to know. But yeah,
we will send out a schedule of
all the events. Yeah, I'll send that out as well. Technology, hey guys. Anyways, if anybody wants to take this question, are students not currently working at oil and gas companies allowed to participate in YCR's programs?
Abso-freaking-lutely. It's all about, like, we want to get as many people as possible. We usually talk to a lot of people working at oil and gas companies, basically because those are the guys and gals who are most interested in joining our program. But anyone who's willing to take the time and take the risk of getting involved with us, we are absolutely happy to have them. So if you have friends that maybe aren't working in oil and gas this summer, totally bring them on in. We are a very inclusive organization. So yeah.
And what type of events do you host during the school year? So we host a few different events. We had an event in Ottawa where we had a panel with a few different keynote speakers, brought a bunch of students and young professionals from around that area towards that, and they were able to learn a little bit more about the forestry industry and kind of the policy side of things when it comes to resources and as it pertains to Ontario. Lexi and Camila hosted an event in Quebec, and maybe they can talk a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I hosted an event at my university, which is Bishop's University in Quebec, and that was a super big hit. Lynn Exner, who's the CEO of Canada Action for this particular event, came out and spoke about the resource sector and kind of talked about some facts. And we just had an open discussion, which was super beneficial, especially for a lot of the students who have heard mostly negative things about this sector. So it was a super awesome event, and we really look forward to hosting more things like that.
Okay, what other questions do we have here? We've hosted events outside of Calgary. Yep. How do I get involved if I don't have a lot of time? Anybody?
Yeah, priority workshop Wednesdays. So even if you don't have a lot of time like that, again, like Camila said, that is the most bang for your buck. Oh, thank you, Lyndon, for sending the newsletter. But so that's the most bang for your buck. 4 afternoons throughout the summer, that shouldn't be too much of a time commitment. And especially if you tell your bosses the stuff that you'll be learning about that stuff. Most energy executives get really excited when we talk about our stuff. So a lot of them are more than willing to give you guys those afternoons. If they do say no, we do have the after work stuff with events. So that happens after work hours. And yeah, beyond that, Dragon's Den, case competitions, you tell your bosses that you want to compete with other companies. They love that friendly competition.
Yeah, and I'll just answer very quickly for Dan. When are the case competitions? It's okay if you had to leave for a few minutes there, I'll forgive you. But I believe that we're having one marquee case competition that is on June 28th. There's an opportunity for them to like learn the topic on the June 7th workshop Wednesday, and then they'll have those, I think it's 2 weeks, could be 3 weeks. I'm not looking at a calendar right now, so I'm just kind of guessing. It's 3 weeks, 21 days. That's history major math right there. Yeah, they'll have those times to do the case competition, and then they'll present it on June 28th for the $4,000 cash prize.
Yeah, and Lyndon, if you don't mind, I'm just going to quickly say a few things. If you've never done a case competition before, that's totally okay. We understand that. So we're here to help guide you. And we encourage you to come to the workshop Wednesdays because we're going to give a nice introduction to that. And we also want to be a resource for you this summer. So reach out to us if you need any guidance on these case competitions with the Dragon Den or whatsoever, because we want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to participate. So don't not do it because you're unsure of how to do it.
Camila, you've been awfully quiet. So if you want to take that last question, have at her.
Yeah, so someone asked, how can I receive more information for the key dates? So you can always look it up on our website, but otherwise, if you subscribe to our newsletter, everything will be there. And it's jam-packed with a bunch of other different information linked to resources. So I would advise to subscribe to that newsletter for sure.
Yeah, and just quickly on the social media side of things too, we do post a lot of the different events and things like that. So there will be ample time for it to reach out. I have a lot of kind of most of the people here who got an invite from somebody most likely came more or less from me. So I will be reaching out and giving a lot of time to prepare for those dates well in advance. But yeah, and you guys, everybody here will be on kind of the exclusive first access list to sign up for these events. I know that I said that first social is first come, first serve, but it's not a pre-sale because our tickets are free, just so you guys know. I don't know if I had mentioned that. Tickets are free. It's just so that we organize and we don't get occupancy warnings. But yeah, so I think with all that being said, if there's any further questions, feel free to reach out to myself, or you can go onto our website or email hello@ycresources.ca for any other questions. And I believe anybody who registered for the Zoom has my email. I think I sent the invitation out from my email. So never hesitate. You can always reach out to us. Ask around. If you can't find us, there's probably somebody who might have one of our emails. But you can also reach out to us on social media. And yeah, I think with that being said, thank you all so much for your support and for your time. And with that, we will let you guys get on with the rest of your day. Yeah, so thank you very much for attending, and hope to see you guys all on June 1st and June 7th. And yeah, hopefully we all have a great summer.